Pan-Africanism is a worldwide movement. It aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity. These bonds are between all people of African descent. This includes those on the African continent. It also includes those in the diaspora, scattered by forced and voluntary migrations. The movement recognizes that a shared history of oppression, particularly through slavery and colonialism, binds African peoples. It seeks to uplift them collectively. Pan-Africanism is a call for political, economic, and social liberation. It is a vision for a united and self-reliant Africa. Pan-Arabism, similarly, is an ideology promoting unification. It focuses on the peoples and countries of the Arab world. This vast region stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Arabian Sea in the east. The core idea is that Arabs constitute a single nation. This nation is bound by a common linguistic heritage, Arabic. It is also connected by shared cultural traditions and a collective historical memory. Pan-Arabism advocates for closer political cooperation. It sometimes calls for the outright union of Arab states. It seeks to protect Arab interests and promote Arab culture on the global stage. Afrocentricity is a crucial concept, especially within Pan-African thought. It is a way of seeing the world. This worldview places African peoples, their histories, and their cultures at the center of study and understanding. It challenges the dominance of Eurocentric perspectives. These perspectives often marginalize or distort African experiences. Afrocentricity is about reclaiming African narratives. It is about asserting the value and agency of African civilizations. It provides an intellectual framework for understanding the past and shaping a self-determined future. This is vital for true liberation. Afrocentricity serves as a powerful intellectual and cultural fuel for Pan-Africanism. If Pan-Africanism is the vehicle for unity and liberation, Afrocentricity is the compass. It guides the journey by ensuring that the perspectives and values are authentically African. It empowers people of African descent to define themselves. It helps them to understand their own history and to build institutions that reflect their unique heritage. Without Afrocentricity, Pan-African efforts risk being built on borrowed foundations. True independence requires mental decolonization, and Afrocentricity is key to this process. It is the soul of the movement. Pan-Africanism's roots run deep into the 19th century. It grew from the struggles against slavery and racial discrimination. Early thinkers and activists like Webb Du Bois and Marcus Garvey were pivotal. They organized conferences and movements. These gatherings brought together Africans and people of African descent from across the globe. The Pan-African Congresses, starting in 1900, were important milestones. They articulated demands for self-determination and an end to colonial rule. Later, leaders like George Padmore and Kwame Nkrumah championed Pan-Africanism. They saw it as essential for the newly independent African nations. It was a tool for achieving genuine sovereignty. The core elements of Pan-Africanism are clear. First, it seeks political unity. This can range from loose cooperation to a federation of African states. Second, it emphasizes economic self-sufficiency and cooperation. This is to break free from external dependence. Third, cultural liberation is vital. This involves promoting African languages, arts, and philosophies. Fourth, it stands for unwavering solidarity against racism and imperialism in all their forms. The Organization of African Unity, founded in 1963, and its successor, the African Union, are institutional expressions of these ideals. They provide platforms for collective action and a unified voice. Pan-Arabism emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It initially arose as a response to Ottoman Turkish rule over many Arab lands. Arab intellectuals and political figures began to promote a distinct Arab identity. They called for greater autonomy or independence. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire, Western colonial powers carved up the Arab world. This further fueled Pan-Arab sentiments. The ideology gained significant momentum in the mid-20th century. Figures like Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt became powerful advocates. He championed Arab unity against foreign domination and Zionism. The core tenets of Pan-Arabism revolve around Arab nationalism. The Arabic language is a powerful unifying force. Shared cultural norms and a sense of common historical destiny are also central. Pan-Arabism generally calls for political coordination among Arab states. It has often espoused anti-imperialist and anti-colonialist stances. In some instances, it incorporated socialist ideas for economic development and social justice. The League of Arab States, founded in 1945, is the primary intergovernmental organization. It aims to foster cooperation and coordinate policy among its member states. It represents a formal attempt to realize pan-Arab aspirations. The primary objectives of Pan-Africanism are broad and ambitious. A core aim was the complete decolonization of the African continent. This meant freedom from European political rule. Beyond political freedom, it seeks to unite the diverse cultures and nations of Africa. It strives to create a powerful bloc that can assert its interests globally. Pan-Africanism also dedicates itself to combating anti-black racism wherever it exists. It promotes economic self-reliance for African nations. This is achieved through greater intra-African trade and development. The ultimate goal is a strong, respected, and prosperous Africa. It is a continent in control of its own destiny. Pan-Arabism's objectives have centered on unifying the Arab-speaking states. These states are primarily located in the Middle East and North Africa. A major focus has been addressing political issues perceived as common to the Arab world. The question of Palestine has historically been a powerful rallying point for pan-Arab sentiment. The movement has sought to leverage the shared linguistic and cultural heritage of Arab peoples. This is to forge closer political bonds. Unlike Pan-Africanism's focus on a continent of diverse peoples, Pan-Arabism often emphasizes a more culturally and linguistically homogeneous Arab nation. It aims to create a unified political entity or a strong alliance. Both movements have profoundly impacted their respective regions. Pan-Africanism inspired and supported independence movements across the African continent. It provided an ideological framework for post-colonial nation building. It continues to influence African diplomacy and regional integration efforts. Pan-Arabism led to attempts at political unions, such as the United Arab Republic between Egypt and Syria. While these unions were often short-lived, the ideology shaped regional alliances and conflicts. There is a geographical overlap in North Africa. Here, many nations identify as both African and Arab. This creates complex identities and sometimes shared anti-colonial histories. Egyptian figures like Samir Amin, an economist, played key roles in Pan-African intellectual institutions like Codes Ria. The interaction between these two movements has been complex. There have been moments of solidarity. Both shared anti-colonial and anti-imperialist sentiments. Many African and Arab nations found common cause in the non-aligned movement during the Cold War. However, there are also points of divergence and even tension. As highlighted in recent scholarly debates, some within Africa question prioritizing solidarity with Arab causes like Palestine over pressing African conflicts. This reflects concerns about the invisibilization of African voices. It also highlights the distinct nature of some struggles. African conflicts are often post-colonial predicaments, while the Palestinian cause is seen as an anti-colonial struggle. Pan-Africanism remains highly relevant in the 21st century. The struggle for genuine economic independence continues. African nations grapple with neo-colonial influences and unequal global economic structures. Promoting intra-African trade through initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area is a key Pan-African goal. Engaging the global African diaspora is also increasingly important. This engagement seeks to harness their skills, resources, and political influence for Africa's development. A cultural renaissance celebrating African identity and heritage continues to flourish. This renaissance strengthens the psychological foundations of Pan-African unity and self-belief. The influence of Pan-Arabism has arguably diminished from its mid-20th century peak. Internal divisions among Arab states, differing political systems, and geopolitical shifts have weakened its cohesive power. National interests often take precedence over broader Arab unity. However, a sense of shared Arab identity and culture persists. Solidarity on certain issues, notably the Palestinian cause, still resonates strongly across the Arab world. Yet, other identities, whether national, sectarian, or tribal, increasingly compete with or supplement Pan-Arab affiliation. The rise of distinct Gulf identities, for example, shows this evolution. Both Pan-Africanism and Pan-Arabism face shared challenges today. National sovereignty and state-specific interests frequently override supranational aspirations for unity. Issues of governance, democratic deficits, and human rights within member states can hinder deeper integration. Engaging vast youth populations in addressing their socio-economic needs are critical for the future vitality of both movements. There is, however, potential for renewed cooperation. Global challenges like climate change, economic justice, and public health could provide new avenues for shared action. Shared platforms could amplify their voices on the international stage. In conclusion, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Arabism represent enduring quests for unity and self-determination. They emerged from historical experiences of colonialism and foreign domination. They sought to empower their respective peoples. While the specific forms and expressions of these ideologies may evolve with changing times, the underlying aspirations for dignity, sovereignty, and cultural assertion remain potent. The dream of collective strength, of peoples united by shared heritage and common purpose, will likely continue to inspire future generations. Their relevance lies in their capacity to adapt and respond to the contemporary challenges facing African and Arab peoples.